He likes to have his own little debut on the live, huh, kitty? Huh? Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. He does. He's a little... Oh, kitty. You have an orange kitty? I love my orange guy. I actually have 5 cats. How many cats do you guys have? He is my familiar for sure, huh? I have this road opener spell behind me that I did last week, and oh, you little turkey. It has ostrich feathers on it, and here, I'll show you guys. That's my road opener spell that I did, what's left of it. Anyway, these little candles, these little ostrich feathers, the cats really love them, so. Actually, since I just showed you guys that, I should. I like to use keys on my road opener spells. I don't know if you guys do that. Now, do you have your spot? Time to get down. That's my spot. Anyway, I like to use keys on the road opener spell. I feel like it's a powerful addition. Kitty. He's being honored today. Waiting to see if any of my mods on here? You gonna moderate, Kitty? Hi, Margie. I'm so happy you got to be here for just a few minutes before you go to work, sister. Kitty, stop. We're actually going to be doing a road opener spell for my coven gathering on Ostara. So if you guys haven't joined the coven and you want to be a part of that live Zoom gathering and learn how to do a road opener spell, that is what we're going to be doing. Happy Sunday, Rebecca. I'm seeing you're blocking people, so thank you for being here. My mods are very protective. I'm so thankful for you guys. You know, I had my hat all straight. Now it's all funky because Kitty was jumping on it. All right, shall we cast a circle today? Have any of you, I'm seeing a lot of people speaking a different language that I don't speak. You can, Teresa, you can get these hats on my website. There's actually a link in my bio for the hats. So I would love for you to purchase one. We have different colors. We have gray, red, blue. Oh, you just read the blog. That blog took me some time to write. I was really... Yeah, that was just something different as far as a blog goes, writing about my journey and my kind of quest for search for truth and where that brought me. So yeah, if you guys want to read my blog, that's on my website as well. Yeah, these hats are actually designed by my friend Stella, who is a witch herself. They're handmade out of wool, and she has them made, crafted now by artisans, so artisan women, and giving to them, so I love that. Good, Apple McConnell. I'm glad that you rebuke all evilness. I rebuke all evilness in my name and in the name of the goddess. I actually think Jesus is a badass witch. So I love that you're on here because, you know, although Jesus is not my savior, I do think he is a badass because his true message outside of Christianity was love and light and acceptance. And it's just so devastating that the Christians have taken his message and twisted it and turned it into evil and hate. Happy Sunday, Queen Miss. Hi, Sarah. Blessed be. I'm not allowed incense and I'm a wavy witch. Do you have any tips? I love to use, actually I can show you guys something, but there's a lot of talk on TikTok right now about calling yourself a baby witch, and I've actually referred to newer witches as baby witches, and you know, there's so many witches out there saying don't call yourself a baby witch, and you know what? I mean, I get it, like you're not wanting to categorize, people aren't wanting you to categorize or dim your light or your power. But yeah, I really don't care what you call yourself, just so you know, but I will show you something I was working on this week for my daughter. I've made various versions of this when I had my boutique, which is now closed. I used to make and sell a banishing spray. And so I showed this on a live. My bottle actually is red. I was wanting to see if you could see. Can you see? There's black salt in there, star anise, lots of goodies. But if you cannot use smoke or flame, you have many other options. One of them being water, and you know, so many witches are not connecting to the power of water, which is a feminine element. So often we are turning, and I am included in this, like look at my altar, like I am always using fire. Hi Amy, blessed be, thanks for being here. That's right, this week the time changed. Yeah, Rebecca's saying she uses rose water. I use rose water as well. What do you use to make black salt? I actually make and sell black salt on my website if you want to look at it. But I use a combination of coals, like ash from fires that I have. I utilize a lot of that stuff. So I created out of that, and eggshells. So yeah. Of course, us witches, we each have our own like little recipe, right? Little thing, but I love these bottles. You can get them on Amazon, and you like pump it up, and when you spray, I'll just spray out this direction. Oh, goodness. Usually it comes out a fine mist, and I just soaked, oh my gosh. Hold 1 minute because I have all the retreat waivers sitting over here printed, and I literally just shot that huge stream of water on them. Okay, I just banished the retreat waivers. Anyway, usually this must be clogged. It sprays in this really fine, beautiful mist. And so I really love to make a banishing spray. On the front of it, as I am making my banishing spray, I really love to use incantations. And so I wrote, whoever shall invoke this sacred spray shall banish all negativity that dares to cross their path. scattering shadows and dispelling darkness. By the ancient power of 3 times 3, I call upon the elements to weave protection and positivity. So mote it be. So I use an incantation. I craft my own black salt. I use, a lot of intent. I also use in this a destroyer oil. And together I use some essential herbs in here, essential oils, and then I use this the same way I would use incense or a bundle of herbs. So don't forget you have water and the power of earth as well. So you can cleanse your space with black salt or pink salt or sea salt, just pure sea salt. So, there's many different ways that you can cleanse your home. Oftentimes we also forget the power of our body and the power of our hands and the power of our voice. So you don't need anything outside of you. You could go through your entire home with your hands if you are in a very meditative, empowered state, and you could go to each part of your home and create an X like this in the areas and say, by the power of 3, I banish thee. By the power of 3, I banish thee. So you can do that in different ways that feel right to you. You can go both directions. Creating that X shape is clearing that energy. So there are ways other than candle and flame and smoke. A lot of people have asthma, allergies, different reasons they can't use plant bundles or smoke or candles or fire. And using the feminine elements, I think, is a really beautiful way to actually invite the feminine within yourself to rise. So, do you guys have any more questions for me before we start casting our Sunday circle? You are an Arab magician. I actually have online witch school. All of the classes are pre-recorded. The link's in my bio. Thank you, Wicca Ghost. Hi, Prisa. Am I saying that right? Do you have a book you reference, in the historical tellings? A really great book. I have a few books. As far as historic stuff, if you want to know about the history of the craft, this book is really good. I like this one on audio, but really cool. There's actually a lot of imagery, and it tells the history of the burning times. So it's Witches, History of Persecution. My friend Janelle turned me on to that. And then this book also gives a history, lays out the different structures of belief. It's called The History of Magic, Witchcraft, and the Occult. So this book is a newer book. I believe this one only came out in 2020 or 2019, where I do believe this book is an older book, but it goes into the witch trials here. This one is more a religious study. So both of those are books I recommend. And then for beginner witches, very beginner witches, this is an old book, but I love it. To Ride a Silver Broomstick gives you a basic beliefs of modern, or not modern, but witchcraft. And Silver Ravenwolf was part of Wicca back in her day. She gets a lot of crap because she does say smudge and to use sage. And, I'm from that era before we even talked about appropriation and stuff. So I like to point out, if you've heard bad stuff about Silver Ravenwolf, we need to actually honor and respect our elders that carried the craft forward for us. Just because we become aware of things that they weren't aware of before, like that saying smudge or using smudging as a practice is a closed practice. They didn't know that. She didn't know that. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I really love Silver Ravenwolf and Starhawk. You know, I was young in the late 80s in high school and stuff, and that they were the witches that we had books for then. We didn't have the internet to turn to, and so thank Goddess we had their wisdom, and otherwise we wouldn't be where we are. So I'm really not on that bus of like canceling, especially the older witches that have carried our magic forward for us. Now, of course, we can implement our own modern perception, like, you know, we've learned what is a closed practice, that we shouldn't be smudging, you know, and there are actually a lot of other herbs out there other than sage that are more original to a witch's practice. You know, mugwort is one of the oldest dating back, and mullein herbs that witches used. So it's like, let's come back to our practices rather than following what we see everybody else doing on social media. Not that I'm 100% right on everything all of the time, right? Like recently I put a post out and it said all witches are pagan, but not all pagans are witches, right? And I should have said, because, you know, of course I have all the witches reaching out that don't consider themselves pagans saying not all witches are pagan, but what I should have said was all witches were pagan. Most witches are pagan now, but if you're going off history, right, which we have very little history as witches, and so what we do have, I personally like to bring those old ways into my craft. Now, if I find out something's harmful or something, of course I'll, you know, I won't do it or whatever, or say it, but you know, there are things like the knowledge of paganism and what paganism actually is. And that Marjorie was saying, she actually read my blog, and that little piece I added as a video that you guys probably have seen, that was an extension of that blog. So to get the full perspective on what a paganism actually means, because pagan, the word is actually layered in its definition. It can refer to a period of time, but it can also refer to belief systems. So you can say all witches are or were pagan because witches came, anybody before Christianity was considered pagan. It didn't matter if you lived in India or Egypt or where you lived, where a lot of witches are, they consider, it's like they don't have the knowledge to know that paganism didn't just exist in like Ireland and Scotland. For some reason, I've learned over the past few weeks, a lot of witches really lump that area together with, you know, Ireland and Scotland for whatever reason, but paganism actually refers to a period of time. Now, there were many different belief systems during that period of time that we now call religions. And I don't actually personally, it's like the way I look at it, I don't look at those belief systems as religions. I just see them as belief systems, because religion actually strains, or they really try to proselytize, to convert people to their belief system, and no other, like Hinduism, any of these other belief systems like Native American, like these are cultural beliefs. And so in a way, they are to me more sacred, and they're trying to preserve and hang on to what they actually have there. So I hope I'm making sense to you. Yeah, everybody's got their beliefs. I do a lot of study, and it is hard to like convey a message when you're on a live and you're just talking and you're not having a conversation back and forth with someone. And that's part of why I write my blogs, is because to make sure when I'm writing, my message is actually clear. And you're right, everyone has their own beliefs. And I do have some strong beliefs that differ from what you will Google and find. And that's because of my research over the years, coming from growing up in a really restrictive religion. I really understand how the programming can warp your perception of truth and illusion. So anyway, do you guys want to cast a circle? I'm not sure if Marjorie is still here. I see Amy's here, Aaron's here, Gingy, Rebecca, Mystic Faye. Do you protective banishing spells for clients? I usually do not do spells for clients. I teach witches to do for themselves, and I have a witch school. So that's where I teach you how to do things like create the banishing spell and all of that. I usually will not do spells for other people because I believe it's more powerful when they do it for themselves. All right, let's cast our circle. So I'm just gonna have everyone, if you're watching, we are casting a circle today. So if you want to receive this, I invite you to find a place that you can sit down, be undisturbed, or lie down and close your eyes and just be open to receive. You can even type in the chat if you want, I accept, I receive. And this circle I cast when I do this on Witchy Wisdom Sundays is to remain open, this circle of deities around you, to heighten your level of consciousness throughout this day. And so these deities that I utilize will circle around you and remain with you until you lie your head down to sleep tonight, and then that circle will be opened. It will never be broken. The circle between us, the bond between witches spans between lifetimes as well as just humans. So the circle will be open, but it will never be broken. So it will put you in this state today where you are able to see from a higher perspective. So I invite you to close your eyes, and we'll just let the chat run. No worries about moderating it. It will do what it's gonna do, and I cast out all darkness in the chat. Let's together as a group begin by inhaling very slowly through your nose. And when you get all the way to the top, just soften your shoulders and then allow your lips to part and audibly exhale. So we're going to do this 2 more times. At the bottom of the exhale, squeeze your belly to expel any stagnant air. And then deep inhale again. Hold at the top for 3, 2, 1. Lips part, let go. One more time, a little quicker, in through the nose. And opening your mouth, let go. Pushing all the last drops of stagnant air out. And letting your breath reset back to a nice, neutral rhythm, pace. Softening your hands, softening your knees, noticing where your body is touching the earth beneath you. Feeling the earth rise up beneath you to support you as your physical body surrenders into her embrace. So there's this feeling of the earth rising as you surrender. So you're being enveloped by the Earth Mother's love, enveloped by the Earth Mother's light, enveloped by what created your physical body, your skin, your flesh, your blood will all one day return to her. You are a part of her. So taking one more deep breath on your own, this time it'll be gently, slowly in through the nose with your lips sealed, feeling fully encapsulated by this beautiful embrace of the Earth Mother. Keeping your lips sealed, slowly exhale out your nose. So just surrendering through this breath. As I call forth concentric circles of light to surround us now, across mountains and deserts, rivers and oceans, cities and forests, creeks and deserts. We arrive within the center of these concentric circles of light that spin with incredible vibrancy. Maybe you're noticing the color of these lights that are circulating. Maybe bringing your internal gaze with your eyes closed to your third eye. Feeling like you're crossing your eyes with your eyes closed. And allow your eyes to witness the circling of light that is beginning to lift you energetically as we call forth the guardians of the watchtowers of the north, south, east, and west to watch over that the magic we create today will be safe for all with harm to none. We call you forth to witness our work, our will in the world. We call upon the spirits of earth, air, fire, and water. Guardian of the north, keeper of earth, queen, mother of witches, keeper of the crossroads, she who holds the candles in the darkest of nights, radiating the path ahead for us. With her keys, she unlocks the doors. Bless us with all of your offerings as we call your name. And feel free to chant these names with me aloud. Hecate, Hecate, Hecate. Guardian of the northeast, keeper of the rising sun, she of the sacred wells, she who has woven her existence throughout history. Bless us with your healing waters and the light of the sun as we call your name. Brigid, Brigid, Brigid. Guardian of the east, keeper of air, she of 10,000 spells, she of 10,000 names, whose essence has been woven through deities throughout centuries, arriving with her wings expanding, unfurling, reminding us to lengthen and straighten our spine as our angel wings unfurl and open wide. Bless us with all of your power and your light as we call your name, Isis, Isis, Isis. Guardian of the southeast, keeper of mysteries, keeper of sovereignty, arriving today with birds fluttering around her with red and blue wings. Many different species of birds, blackbirds, white birds, doves, small little finches fluttering all about her. Bless us as we call your name, Rhiannon, Rhiannon, Rhiannon. Guardian of the south, keeper of fire, queen of the fae, she who knows love is the way. Bless us with your love, showing us that there are many avenues to love, and within love there is righteous love, there is light love, there is dark love, there is pure love, and there is the love that we are. Within the wholeness of the love that we are, bless us to know the way as we call your name, Anya, Anya, Anya. Guardian of the southwest, keeper of the red thread and the red rose, she who has woven her name through history, willing to be seen as someone she wasn't until humanity was ready to see who she was, until the feminine was ready to see who we are. Bless us as we call your name, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene, Mary Magdalene. Guardian of the west, keeper of the sacred waters, keeper of the cauldron, keeper of the oracle of the womb space, she who knows the way of alchemy, she whose magic is compassionate and fierce. Bless us as we call your name, Caradwyn, Caradwyn, Caradwyn. Guardian of the northwest, sacred weaver of weavers, queen of witches, daughter of the queen of witches, daughter of Diana, queen of witches, seal this sacred circle today. Weave with your radiant light, earth, air, fire, and water to seal this sacred circle closed as we call your name, Aradia, Aradia, Aradia. From beneath us, we invoke the presence of our loving Earth Mother, who is already here, surrounding us, enveloping us in her embrace. We call forth the ancestors for which we are a part of, that walked with us in a good way. We invite the ancestors that walked the land, that walk with us now in a good way, from where each one of us reside. We call forth the Fae and their light to say we are beginning to awake from their underground slumber through winter and fall. From above us, we call forth our star brothers and sisters, the constellations that are seeds, that are home to the seeds of our souls. We call forth the brothers and sisters of the star nations to watch over us and guide our way. As we bring our hands to heart center, we call forth our I am presence, each and every one of us that are taking their place, their acceptance and receiving of this circle. We call forth their higher self, their oversoul, to step forward and be present to lead the way with ego integrated. Inviting this part of ourselves to help us make conscious choices in this day that are for our highest and best good. And as we do this, we lift this circle up, up, up to the 7th and 8th plane of consciousness, where divine knowing and miracles take place. Taking a breath to acclimate to this plane of consciousness. And as we do, this circle is now sealed by the power of 3, as above, so below, as within, so without. It is done, it is done, it is done, and so it is. Blessed be. Taking a deep inhale. And as you exhale, gently blinking your eyes open, allow the fluttering to take in the fractals of light around you. Bringing yourself back into this time and space, just noticing how you feel. I would love to invite everyone who participated to write your circle of lights color that you've seen, type in the chat anything you felt as we were casting that circle. Thank you, Sarah, for being here so I can do this with all of you every Sunday, gold and silver, without any herbs and candles. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but we don't always open circle with herbs and candles. White, green, yellow, yellow and gold. Blessed be. Thank you, Gloria. Purple and silver, you felt at peace. White and gold, yellow and white. Purple and light, white, purple and gold, yellow and orange. Look at all these colors. Bluish white, silver and white, white, purple and white, purple and gold. Thank you, Amy. Red and white. Ooh, red and white. That's one we haven't seen. Thank you guys for participating, heading to work. Thank you, sister, for your peaceful start to my day. Blessed be, Margie. Thank you for being here. I'm glad we were able to cast this circle together, and I hope you have a beautiful day at work. Thank you for being moderator every week, and I think I'm in good hands. I've got Gingy and Rebecca and Amy here helping. I came in towards the end, so if you came in towards the end, we were casting a circle. If you participated in halfway through, you can just bring your hands to your heart and say, I accept, I receive. You are welcome to type I accept, I receive in the chat. We were invoking a circle, casting a circle of deities, and lifting up your level of consciousness so that you can move throughout your day in this beautifully magical space until you rest your head on your pillow tonight to go to sleep, when the circle will then be open, but it will never be broken. And I don't believe I said those words as I was casting the circle, but that was my intent, and that will be done. So all of those who participated in this casting of the circle, when you lie down, take a deep breath and say thank you, because all of these deities that are multi-dimensional are actually around each one of us, because these deities are, some of them ascended masters. They are multi-dimensional, meaning they can exist multiple places at once. And those that are not ascended masters are actual archetypes that exist within us. And throughout history, we've created this energy around them, and they take these places as we create this circle. Now, everywhere you go today, you have this powerful circle of deities and ascended masters surrounding you, walking the way as your higher self is leading you to make empowered choices and decisions and feel at peace. Now, this is something, you felt them around you, Cassandra. That is beautiful. Shantae is saying, I'm glad to be in this community. Thank you. Goddess Shalisha, I love that you are here too. Thank you. Gummies, if someone is about to be executed, is there any witchy ritual they can do to save themselves? Where is this question coming from? This is a little bit of a bizarre question. Anyway, please know that you don't have to wait for Sunday to cast your circle. Every witch has their own way of casting their circle. I cast my circle through the 8 directions. Many witches will, more witches than not, use the 4 directions. I love to use the 8 directions because it feels like a complete circle to me. I have chosen the deities that I call forth individually for myself. During different periods and phases of my life, I will work with different deities. These specific deities I've been working with for a while now. The deities that are working with us, you know, there is this belief system that you have to have one patron deity or one patron goddess. And however that can be true for some people, I practice working with multiple deities. I actually have altar spaces for every deity I work with, because your altar space actually acts as a portal to that energy. So don't think you have to wait till Sunday to cast this circle. I cast my circle in my head. A lot of times, if I forget in the morning, I will do it at night before I fall asleep, almost like someone would say a prayer in their head quietly. I'll do that before I fall asleep, or I do it, most of the time I do it before I even get out of bed in the morning. I call forth that circle every single day, because it is the best way to energetically protect yourself as a witch. That casting of a circle is calling upon not only the deities, but the elements in which you weave with: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. Those 5 elements are foundational for a witch. This is why the pentacle, or the pentagram, which is, the pentagram is the star, the 5-pointed star within the circle. When the circle is around it, it is a pentacle. And this is a foundational emblem or sign, sigil, call it what you will, that is so protective and a foundational piece of the craft to remind you what you are weaving with. All witches are weavers of magic, meaning not just you're a woman who is everybody's like, yeah, I'm a witch, I do spells here and there. If you are a witch that is actually practicing the craft, you will know that you are weaving your magic every day with certain elements, and it's so foundational to connect with those elements. So I actually have in my bio, on my profile, I have a link to my link tree. It takes you to my website where I have what I call Witch School, and I have 3 classes there. One is called Practical Magic for the Solitary Witch, and I teach you as a witch to cast a circle, to connect with the pentacle, and to connect with the 5 elements, which is very, very foundational. Every witch should have that connection in place. Then I have a course called The Way of the Witch. It's a year and a day to initiating yourself into the craft. You are initiating yourself under me, but as a solitary witch myself, I am very into other witches remaining solitary and practicing their own craft. Now, the reason I believe this is because we each have a different bloodline coursing through us. And depending on our genealogy, our lineage, our history of our lineage, what we have coursing through our blood, it can draw us to certain forms of magic. So whereas if you're Wiccan, and I'm not Wiccan, I'm a solitary witch, meaning I practice my own magic on my own. If you're Wiccan, you have a high priest and a high priestess, and you follow their form of magic. And when you reach a certain degree in their teachings, you're not allowed to practice any other magic. For myself and my witch school and the way I teach witches, because I do believe that us solitary witches need mentors. Mentors need mentors. Healers need healers. Teachers need teachers. And I am very much about you finding out what is your lineage, what's in your bloodline. Do you guys know what's in your bloodline? Type it in the chat if you do. I have a strong amount of Italian in me. I have a grandma that was 100% Italian. So what's strongest in my bloodline is Italian, and then Welsh, English, Irish. I have a small bit of West African American and German in me as well. So usually people will be like, I'm English and Irish, right? I'm seeing that. I'm Native American, Cherokee, and Scottish. Usually when you do your 23andMe or your Ancestry.com, you find out there's a lot more in you than you actually realize. So German and Swedish make up 90%. That's awesome. So usually there is a draw in you. Native American and Apache. That's beautiful. Thank you for being here. I actually have a Native American witch from the Chalagi Cherokee tribe that is a mentor, has been a mentor to me for years. I've seen someone's German and Welsh, Latin, African, Haitian, and you're saying you're white witch. So I actually believe white and black witchery. I don't believe in black magic, and I don't believe in labeling the white and the black. It's just something you may think about, because it's actually very racist, because it is categorizing black witchcraft as being baneful witchcraft. And I think there's a difference between a black witch, which would be someone who is black, and a witch, than there is baneful witchcraft. Therefore, there is no white or black magic. It is purely in the heart of the witch that is practicing the craft, and all witches are witches. And so for me personally, I don't like to use those terms. I know there was a period in the 70s, actually it went from the 50s to the 70s, I believe, where the term white witchcraft and black witchcraft became popularized through the book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And so there was this group of witches that were like, were white witches to identify that they were witches that did only good works in the world. Now, at the core, at the base foundational teachings of Wicca, which even if you're a solitary witch, a lot of times what we are practicing is rooted in Wiccan teachings, because they are who preserved the teachings and created somewhat of a structure, because before that the Christians wiped out about everything. So we have like a lot of stuff coming in from a lot of different lineages, and there's witches in every single lineage, right? The word witch really came from the areas like France, England, Ireland, Scotland, Germany used the word witch. There were so many in that area that were referred to as witch, but like if you go to Italy, the word witch would be strega. I have a friend that's Polish. It's wieczma. I think I'm saying that right in Polish. There's a different word in each structure where there are these witches. So, you know, in the essence that all women are magical because we all have a womb space. So anyone that has a womb space, even if you don't identify as a woman, your body has a womb, I should say. This means your body carries this extra sensory like ability that other bodies that do not have a womb or didn't come into this life having a womb have. Now that doesn't mean if you've gone into menopause and your womb isn't working or you've had your womb removed that you don't carry this still, because if your womb has been removed or you're in menopause, the energetic abilities still came into this life with you. Meaning that womb space is like a cauldron and an oracle within itself. And what that means for the person who is living in that body is that spirit can actually enter your body. So your body is actually a portal. Now, because your body is a portal, naturally, you carry this magical thing about you. All humans, doesn't matter your gender identification, are psychic, are mediums. It's just we have to practice this ability. We don't practice them. All humans have a sixth sense, and we focus mostly on the five senses. If that, most people aren't even appreciating or acknowledging their five senses, much less their sixth sense. And so I, as a witch, also am, and one that teaches the feminine specifically, am very into us tapping into our senses, because the senses actually are what creates the energy of passion and desire. And through those senses, we get this passion that lights up the Kundalini energy that is actually creating like the fire underneath the cauldron in your womb space as it rises. So, in the sense that all women are magical, they are witches, but are all women witches practicing witchcraft? No, they are not. Not all women identify as witches. There is some foundational pieces to being a witch. One of them I consider practicing the pagan ways, meaning the old ways. So when I say all witches are pagan, I say that because all witches of old, before the conversion of Christianity, they were pagan, because the word pagan envelops everything that came before. So if you are a practicing witch, those elements that we are casting when we cast that circle, it is so important. I can't even think of a word. Like, for me, it is so important, and that we are connected to earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, because that is where your abilities are coming from. I was sitting with someone this week who lives where I live and is taking my practical magic course, and she was asking me questions. One of her questions was, do all witches have a gift? All right. And my answer is yes, but the word gift is, I don't really like the word gift. I like to call it an ability more than a gift, because anyone that is a witch has these abilities, just like anyone that is a human can have these abilities. As a witch, because of your lifestyle, your foundational lifestyle, you are developing. It's almost like going to the gym, right? You go to the gym and you work out your muscles, and your muscles become stronger, your body looks different, your shape of your body can change, the strength of your body can change, the flexibility of your body can change. The same thing goes with witchcraft. When you are practicing the craft, when you are eating, breathing, and sleeping the craft, when you know the moon phases as they're coming, when you know them not because you're Googling them, but because you're looking outside and saying, oh, it's a crescent moon. Oh, I see Venus over there lighting up the sky tonight. She must be an evening star right now. Or in the morning, you might see the star before the sun rises, and you're like, oh, I guess Venus is in her morning star phase rather than her evening star phase. These connections, and of course you can look and check yourself on Google, but remember, the ways of the old, were they connected to those elements because it meant life or death for them to know what phase of the moon it was, how high the tides were going to be. Our bodies as women bleed on different moon phases, specifically the new and the full moon, so much that in the days of old, they would put them, they thought they had a periodic illness, and they would separate them to go over in these areas that we now refer to them as the red tents, but they were known as moon lodges and other names as well. But the women would go there to birth children, to, bleed into the earth, because we didn't have diva cups, or, a lot of women are still using tampons and pads, which are really unhealthy for your body. I highly suggest using a diva cup, but in the days of old, they free bled into the earth in these moon lodges. And so it was like there was no option but for those pagan people to be connected to the earth, right? Those people of old, those ancestors would look at us today and laugh at us because we actually have to ground, right? They were grounded because of the life that they lived. They lived close to the earth. They didn't go to the grocery store to shop, so they were connected to the food they were eating. We are so disconnected from everything that gives us life, considering the first one to be the element of earth, and all earth provides for us, right? So back in the pagan times, to connect with the intuition, to connect with spirit, was very much rare. But because of the burning times, they actually made everyone across the board, through fear of death, fear the earth, fear their physical body. When you are not connected to the earth, you are not connected to your body, meaning your spirit is not fully in your body. Most of us are living up and out. And I believe that is really reflected in pop culture spirituality, how everyone is so focused on those crystals like amethyst because they want the third eye connected, which is bringing us more and more up and out, right? We're coming into this place where it can be delusion and illusion, or it can be transcendent and completely connected to source, right? But we're human. We didn't come here to be a spirit. We came here to be a spirit in a human body in this meat suit. But because of the burning times, we are actually so afraid of our bodies, not even only from the trauma we have experienced. And might I add that more women than not in every single circle I have ever led has had sexual trauma in their past or physical trauma in their past than not. Like, the number is almost 100% at every single circle of women that have had those things happen to them. And that alone makes you fear your body. And then when you take into relevance the fact that your DNA is being run by women and men that feared being witches, feared being called witch, feared using their physical body in their magic in their life, or they would die, right? So that fear of the body, the fear of the earth has been running the show. So we, in this day and age, have to ground ourselves, especially because we are in the age of Aquarius now. We're just at the bridge of the age of Aquarius. Like, we've just entered this era, but yet that's all air energy with a little bit of water, right? It's the water bearer energy. So it's a little bit different than, say, air energy like Libra or Gemini. It's very different at Aquarius because you've got that element of water kind of sneaking in there, being the water bearer, with the element of air, which can completely disconnect us and take us up and out into delusion and illusion, unhealthy AI, things like that. Or we have the option to utilize AI for our highest good, to extend life, to do some really good stuff with. Now, what will make the difference during this bridging point is us as humans not fearing our body and becoming grounded, because right now on the planet we have so many people who are like, I believe this, I believe that, and everybody's got their reasons why they believe everything. But one of the big things that I notice is that a lot of the people are so worried about money, they are putting aside the relevance of human rights. And when you are fearful of not having enough money, you are fearful. That is root chakra problems. That is abundance blocks problems. That comes from our ancestry and the life that we have lived. And so it is vital for us to move forward in the age of Aquarius in a good way, to connect with the earth so that we can bring the transcendent wisdom that is available at Aquarius down and into the body and live from that place, right? Otherwise, we are up and out, and the information we're receiving from people that is transcendent can be illusion, can be delusion. And how do we tell if it is truth or if it's this other person's illusion or delusion? We check in with our body. But how can you check in with your body to know if something's a yes or a no if you are disconnected from your body? Now, ways to know you are disconnected from your body is that you can have it, depending on the severity of it. Like when I was disconnected from my body years ago, like I would rather not go camping, not go outside. Like my husband, everyone would joke, he'd take the kids camping and we'll drop mom off at the hotel in the corner because I didn't even want to be out there. Wouldn't take my shoes off outside. Wouldn't, it just was like a complete, like, I don't want the dirt to touch me. I don't want the sun to touch me. I don't want to sweat. I don't want the wind to blow on me. It was like a complete aversion to everything that my body was calling for. And there can be people who are outside hiking and be mountain biking, doing outdoor sports that are not actually fully grounded. And I say that because I watch my husband do this. He's a mountain biker, and he has taken me places to go hiking where he mountain bikes, and he's like, I didn't even know this existed out here, and yet I ride by here every day. So how does he go ride by there every day and not know that's there? Why? Because he's in his head the entire time he's riding. So you've got to notice how many fears, like there's all these things you can check in with, your fears. How many fears do you have? I used to be afraid of freaking everything. When you have that level of fear to do anything that prevents you from moving forward, when you have fear around losing money, when you hoard money and you don't want to spend it, or when you spend all of your money, do you have lower back issues? That's usually where abundance blocks are held, is in the lower back. So these are all signs that you are not connected to your root chakra. How is the health of your sexuality? Is it overexpressed? Is it underexpressed? How is your creativity? Are you connected to color? Are you connected to light? Are you connected to sound? All of these things connect you to this human body. If you are out of alignment with any of these sensory things, then you are needing to practice getting into your body. For me, that was yoga. That's why part of my witch school is yoga, which is totally bizarre, right? Yoga has nothing to do with witchcraft, but it did for me in the sense that I was practicing the craft long before I found yoga. And then when I found yoga, I realized that was the missing piece of the puzzle because I resisted my body so much. And yoga made me come down and into my body, taking all of my spiritual gifts and making them so much more powerful. So I started this by saying every witch has an ability that is a strength. Some call that a gift that they are given. We won't know what those gifts are or those abilities that are unique in strength to us until we are fully in our body. Once I started doing yoga, I realized I was a channel. I had no idea I could channel until I started doing yoga and the information started pouring into my body. And it was different. Thank you, Gingy, Erin. It was different than all of those dreams, right? And dreams are great. I mean, I'm a Pisces moon, a Cancer sun. I've got a lot of water in me, and I am the dreamiest person there is, but it wasn't, and that dreaming ability can help you manifest. But if the dreaming stops here because you're blocked to your throat, then there's no way for this body to experience the alchemy of your dreams, the alchemization, the manifestation of your dreams. Like, we all love to call that manifestation because it's a spiritual safe buzzword. It's alchemy, it's alchemization, it's magic when you take that dream and turn it into a reality that you are actually living. So yoga personally was really important for me because in yoga, you are focusing on your body. You're coming down and into the body, and yet you're also taking time for meditation to connect to the transcendent energy, right? Where if I'm out riding a bike, I can be in my head, or I'm out running, right? Or walking. Now, that doesn't mean that all of us that are out walking or running or biking are not present in our body, but more of us than not are not. So there are more of us just because of the DNA we come from that are disembodied than we realize. Like, disassociation is a huge, like, we all disassociate to some level. Because of abuse I experienced in my childhood, I had extreme disassociation problems, and many women have that and don't even realize that they are having it. But all of us are disassociated to some extent to be able to live in the head the way we do. And when we are living from the head, we are not living in the heart. And this is, you know, there's this spiritual talk. You don't hear me refer to it a lot unless I'm trying to get a message across to people that only speak that language, where people are like, we need to be in 5D, we need to be in 5D. And it's like, why are we focusing on out from 3D to 5D? 5D is, we're skipping the heart, we're skipping the bridge. And so my message in my channeled wisdom is that I don't need to be running off with those people to 5D, because that's skipping the heart. And if you skip the heart, you are going to not be able to understand what needs to happen for this transcendent wisdom, these dreams and hopes and wishes that you have to be able to be manifest or alchemized into your life in a good way. This is, you know, we're seeing AI move, like, help us in so many ways, right? But it can be really, really toxic if we don't have the heart to balance that or to bridge it. And to be connected to your heart, you've got to be safe in your body. So please do not be focused on jumping to 5D. Learn to trust your body's wisdom. Learn to come down and into the body. You've already lived in a disassociated state. Most of us can drop into that really, really quickly. So coming into the body, like, yeah, you can even do yoga and be completely disconnected from what your body is going through. You may be just listening to the stories in your mind, going all through yoga instead of listening to your body. And if you're in yoga and you're listening to your body, you'll be focused in on every body part, and you'll notice stories come in and float out. And it's not like you're spending an hour thinking, because if you spend an hour thinking, you're going to walk away from yoga not feeling as good as if you were in that meditative state where it's one breath, one movement. So I'm really an advocate for yoga. There is Tai Chi, there's other physical movements that can bring you that same type of energy. but the goal is to remain in your body, to let the body be your guide, because we are meant to be in this body. And I promise you, in the age of Aquarius, there is shadow. Like, you know, we're all waiting for the age of Aquarius because of that song glamorizing Aquarius, but there can be a lot of shadow in Aquarius. Look at the shadow we experienced in the age of Pisces. The extreme shadow was the burning times. The extreme shadow was the conversion of Christianity. Pisces has the ability to be empathic, compassionate, healing. It can connect you to source energy, right? But they used that energy to actually manipulate humanity through fear and control. And so I myself, looking at all of the shadow that was expressed during the age of Pisces, and I'm like, what is this shadow of the age of Aquarius? We're seeing it right now, where people are more worried about money and I mean, it's just everywhere. Everyone's worried about money. You know, we could see the root chakra imbalance as far as during 2020, during COVID, toilet paper ran out. If there is no more of a sign that we are afraid of our root chakra and afraid of our bodies, then that, I don't know what is. Like, everybody ran out to get toilet paper. So in the craft, as far as a witch goes, if you are not connected to the element of earth, yeah, you might have psychic abilities, you might have oracular gifts, you might have psychic dreams, but they're not going to be able to be utilized in this lifetime to the extent that they could be utilized if you were embodied. And I say this from a space of, I have lived this life. I was raised in a church. I had to break away from that church. That church I was raised in is one of the known cults, and it's Mormonism. And so to break away from that and reprogram myself and teach myself to be safe, that I am safe in my body. And then, you know, it's all, I knew I was a witch since I was 5. And I had all these abilities, but they never did me any good until I actually started coming into my body. And that's why I'm such an advocate for yoga. However, there are other ways to get in your body other than yoga. Tapping is a great way. Like I mentioned, Tai Chi, it's your ability to stay in your body, to come down and into the body and release the energy of fear and of trauma, of traumatic events that got stored in different areas of your body. So the more physical pain and issues you have in your body, the more you know that there's been disassociation from the body for a long time and energetic imbalance. And when you are a witch practicing the craft, you know, you can go through the motions of doing a spell, but it's so different than when you know the elements that you are weaving with. So if you've done spells and they haven't worked, then, you know, you might check in with how embodied you are, how connected to the elements you are that you are working with. And I'm really careful when I do magic. Like right now, we are in an eclipse portal. So the magic I do here is not me trying to direct my will, because I believe astrologically, eclipse seasons are kind of like a goddess take the wheel moment, right? You're turning your life over to the divine so that all of the way things are going sideways, they'll start going in a direct line. So I do a lot of meditation, a lot of card pulls, connecting with spirit. As far as spell work, I'm very choosy if I do any spell work. Road opener spells are great because they're just clearing the way for you to know which direction you're supposed to go. So you're clearing those blocks. So any block clearing can be done during this time. But we do have to be careful, because if astrologically, the divine is coming in and trying to flip things around and turn things around for us, and we're over here doing an abundance spell, and the divine is like, you're not supposed to be focused on that. There's going to be some really funky energy, a lot of things going sideways during eclipse season, where if you surrender to divine will during this time, you are surrendering to what is astrologically at play. Now, a lot of witches will say eclipse season is the most powerful time to do spell work. The energy is heightened. The energy is heightened because the divine is here trying to flip things around. So be mindful on what you are doing and why you are doing it and how much ego is involved, because you know, we would love to say that we're not coming from ego because ego has been so demonized, yet ego is the human experience. So for you to let go of your will and come from the place of divine will is actually, I don't even know if I can say I'm 100% not coming from ego, because the human life, the human experience is the journey of the ego. And so releasing control, you know, that can be a great type of spell. You know, a lot of times I will just say I don't do spell work during this time, because it's like, I really do believe that you have to be so mindful around what you're doing to not disrupt the divine trying to turn things around for you. Sometimes we are going in a direction we believe is divinely guided, and it's just the easy path. And the path of the divine may not always be the easiest path, because maybe we need to take a rockier road to get the strength we need to become the person we're going to be in the future. And the divine knows that, right? Like, you may not know that. I never knew I was going to have as large of a following as I do on TikTok. I didn't even know TikTok was going to exist, right? But there was this period of my life from 2012 to like, gosh, it was 2012 to I'd say like 2020, where I felt like I was in a constant dark night of the soul. And I was looking up a lot going, what the heck is going on? You give me an inch and then like you drop me back a mile. But it was strengthening me. Now I can look back and see everything I went through really fast and really hard during those times. And even through my younger years was preparing me to be who I am now, to lead women's retreat, to be having my own little witch school, to be talking live on TikTok. You know, in my 20s and early 30s, I would not speak publicly, period. I would not even, like, someone put a microphone up to my mouth and asked me to say my name because we won a cruise at this thing we were doing. And I opened my mouth and literally nothing came out, you guys. So for me to go from that person to being the person that was teaching yoga to now the person that's doing lives and recording themselves to teach classes, it's like I became a completely different person. And I became that person by surrendering to divine will, by coming down and into my body and letting my will get out of the way. Could I see there was something more for me in the future? 100%. I knew with everything in me I came here for more. I didn't know what that was. But now, since 2020, I'm fully seeing that manifest in the world. Like, what I was building strength for. So don't think just because you're going down a rocky road that you aren't going down the right road, because those rocks you're stepping on and learning to weave around are teaching you something. They're giving you strength, but not just strength, the balancing strength as you sway side to side and move around the rocks and through the waters, so that when you are placed in this role that you are meant to play in your life, whatever that might be, it might be in corporate America, it might be in your family, it might be in a spiritual community, it might be anything. Don't think that you need to change it just because the path is hard. Because I'm telling you, everything that was hard is what made me who I am today. And I have been through a lot in my life, to the point where I was like, what did I do to you, God? Like, was just being born? Like, what the heck was my karma? You know, there were so many things I would ask because of toxic things, even in the spiritual community. Like, I did this to myself or something, when actually it was strengthening me for the journey ahead. Hi, Tara. Blessed be. You missed Kitty. He was here at the beginning of the live. Tara and Kitty are good friends. Thank you for the gift. If you guys were here at the beginning, Kitty was jumping on my hat and on my back. Yeah, he loves Tara. He's actually sleeping in the cat house now across from me. See his little bum sticking out because he's quite a big guy. You just left a meeting. You're always busy. Blessed be, sister. All right, you guys, any other questions around what I've been talking about, what we've been sharing today? Do you guys have any thoughts? If you haven't liked the live, please like the live, send some hearts and some gifts. That's what I'm going through. Feels like trial and error. Can you be Muslim and a witch at the same time? I do believe there is my friend Subia had told me there was a name in Muslim that was like a witch energy, if that makes sense. Witch is more of a word that was used in Germany, Ireland, England. I was talking about this earlier. For every culture, there's usually another word for witch. I actually have a Native American mentor. She is a Native American witch, she calls herself. And I've worked with her for a long time. So I do believe, gosh, I'd have to go backwards. Just look at I don't want to go back and talk about all the things I already talked about if you weren't here, but I usually put the recordings on YouTube, you guys. So if you want to see the recording of this live so you can hear all that I talked about before that relates to that, you can find it next week because I'll pop it on there. Yes, there's different words for witch, like strega, wichma. Yeah, different words for witch. So which does refer to, for myself, is that, thank you, Tara, those oracular, the mediumship, prophetic, psychic gifts that they're a huge part of it, but also practicing the ways of old in whatever culture you live in. I used to only refer to that as the pagan ways, but a lot of people think that pagan means just if you are from Ireland or Scotland or Wales or England or France or any of those areas, or Germany. Like, pagan refers to any time before the conversion of Christianity. So whatever area of the world you lived in, maybe that is Iraq, maybe it's Jerusalem, maybe, it's somewhere, maybe it's Australia. There are pagan ways, which just means the ways of the old ancestors that were native to that area. And usually you are practicing their native beliefs, if that makes sense, their folklore, what I would call folklore, along with like this strong ability for psychicness, mediumship. And then, we were talking earlier about those gifts that are actually strengths, abilities and strengths that witches have. Like some witches, I know Tara's an energy healer, I'll use for example, like she's known since she was a child, like she has this ability to work with energy. That is her strength. And I imagine if I asked her, the older she's gotten, the more she's embraced who she is and lived her life authentically, the abilities that she has have gotten stronger. And that's what I was starting with. Whatever your ability is, whether that to be a psychic, a healer, a medium, that will get stronger and stronger the more authentically you live. And authentically doesn't mean just doing a spell here and there. It means being connected to the earth, being connected to the air, to the fire, to spirit, to your physical body. Like that was a big thing we were talking about earlier. Like being embodied will help you embody those gifts. To embody the healer that you are, you cannot be afraid of going down and into your body. So of course, some of us are born knowing what these natural gifts are. Like, Tara, for example, I know she always knew she was a healer, connected to energy. She didn't always have the words for it, right? My little sister was a medium. We didn't call her a medium when she was little. We just knew she talked to the spirits. So those abilities are, some of us are born with these like really strong abilities. You can still make them stronger by living your life authentically, by being connected to the elements, and not just putting your physical needs and your spiritual needs like playing second fiddle to everything else. Yes, I could read and see things about people and see the missing pieces. Yeah, so we all, like, when you're little and you have these abilities, it's like you don't know why, like, what does this mean? Like, other people aren't seeing these things, other people aren't, I had a lot of psychic abilities as a child. One of my gifts is actually being a strong protector. And, I kind of naturally got put in that role with my sister because she's seen the spirits. So for her to walk through our doorway at night when she was seeing the spirits was like she had to walk through that door with me. And so I do have an ability anywhere I go that the energy clears in that area, if that makes sense. And I completely trust that in this life. So I can go to any Airbnb, and no matter what happened there, I can clear that energy and cleanse that energy and shift that energy there, because I am such a protector if I'm bringing women into that space. But I also have a lot of, psychic abilities. I had a lot of prophetic dreams as a child. And so, as a child, I would tell my mom, like, I had this dream, and I would explain these people from the grandparents that did not live when I lived. We didn't have pictures of them. And I would explain them, and one of the big ones that happened was a great grandfather, I believe, was who it was, came to me telling me my great grandmother was in danger by I was calling him a motorcycle man. And I was telling my grandma I was telling my mom the same night my dad's cousin, I call her my aunt, actually called my grandma and was like, I had a dream, you're in danger, something's wrong. And I explained the man to my mom. She called my great grandma, and it was like this whole thing where they realized I was describing her deceased husband. And I believe I was like 10 or 11 when that happened. And she actually ended up having a man that rode a motorcycle renting a room from her that nobody knew about. And so they ended up asking him to move, but we don't know what would have happened had he stayed, right? But those are kind of things that happen that are, as we're a child, our inner child knows our gift, right? Our inner child knows what we are supposed to do in this world. And our inner child receives all these wounds from living in the world we live in. And so as adults, we have to go back to that child self and look at all those strengths and all of those abilities and all of those passions that little you had, and realize that the gifts that we have as witches came into this life with us. It's just we were programmed out of believing that they were anything special, right? If anything, we thought they were weird. And so instead of seeing them as being weird, thank you, Florence, we are, as adults, doing inner child healing and learning that those are our gifts. They are our strengths in this life that we came here with, and that we never lose that divine inheritance that we come into this life with, that our inner child was very aware of what that was. I do believe I'm supposed to write a book in this life. I used to write in little children's books because I was a child writing. I loved to read. I was terrible at school. I actually dropped out in 10th grade. But I loved to read, and I loved to write. And I believe I will write a book one day. I'm just waiting for, hopefully one day on one of my TikTok lives, someone to connect me with the right ghostwriter to help me make that happen, because I don't have the knowledge or the wisdom of how to make that happen. So that's one of the things I know from my childhood as well. So I encourage you to look back at your childhood and what were those things for you? Tara shared what she's seen as a child. If you guys want, share anything in the comments. Sometimes when we share these things, it gets the energy flowing in that direction. So what was your thing when you were a child that you loved to do? Because there's so much magic in what our inner child knew that we could do that we might have considered weird. So did anybody else see spirits? Did anybody else have prophetic dreams? You collected rocks, so you do have a connection with the stone kingdom. I love that. I see dark shadows, but they weren't evil. So you might be seeing spirits. You might have some mediumship abilities there. If you're a witch, then you already are one. That's true, but you can decide to be a witch and learn. A lot of people wake up to the fact that they're a witch in their older years because they spent their younger years being so programmed. I've known I was a witch since I was 5. Has anybody else had that inkling or their knowing since they were a child that they had that witchiness in them? My papa came in and said goodbye, and I knew he had passed before anyone in the house knew. Oh, that's so beautiful. Spirit communication. I love that. What was yours, Mystic Sadie? I see things out of the corner of my eye. I smell different odors. So you're Claire. Oh gosh, what's it called when you smell? Claire. It's not clairsentience, because clairsentience is the ability to feel. Audible is the ability to hear. Clairvoyant is the ability to see. What is you have one of the strong clairs. Yeah, you didn't know what it was called. Loved spending times outside, barefoot, so you're very connected to the earth. Very empathic, clairsentient, if you like to be outside, connected to the animals. I was born in a house that belonged to witches. Oh, I love that. They used to hover outside my sister and rub their what? That's when you can smell. What do you call that, Tara? Clairsentience? I thought clairsentience was the ability to feel, not to smell. Am I wrong on that? It does sound like clairsentience is, I mean, it has the word scent in it, so now I'm like, wait. There's a clair that you feel. What's that called? I went near the graves instead of the church. Oh, I love that. You're in the graveyard. See things in the sky already appearing. Sentient is to feel. That's what I thought too. So what's the ability to smell? Do you know what the ability to smell is, Mystic Sadie? I think Tara might be looking it up. But that's why I was talking earlier too, that our senses, the 6 senses, are so important in the craft. My mom and grandpa and his mom all had the gift. They called the Fae. I have it too, gift of foresight. I love that. Yeah, I'm very connected to the Fae. Are you all witches in my family? I do believe it runs clairalience. Clairalience is the ability to smell. Clairalience, am I saying that right? I wish you guys could talk back to me sometimes. I'm like, am I pronouncing this word right? Clairalience or clairali? I think it's aliens. Yeah, I thought clairsentient was the ability to feel. Yes, most witches, thank you, Tara. I am saying that right, thank you. There are witches that specialize in special fields, like their strength, right? They may be really good at love magic, but then you may be, like most of us witches, I think sometimes social media does a disservice when, like, I love all the posts that are like, are you a cottage witch? Are you a you know, a sea witch, and they show you like different images of witches in these different realms, right? Which makes us feel like we have to put ourselves in these boxes. Like, what type of craft do you practice? When what they're showing you is really an aesthetic that you may like, more than it is what type of witch you are, because most witches are actually eclectic. And being an eclectic witch means we practice several different forms of the craft. Thank you, Tara. And because we practice many different forms of the craft, we are eclectic. Like, I practice a lot of herbalism, but I don't consider myself an herbalist. I've taken, you know, classes in herbalism, but I don't consider myself an herbalist, but it's part of my practice. So if I were to label myself as anything, it would be eclectic. But really, in the days of old, what type of witch you were referred more to the path that you followed, like Strega being an Italian witchcraft, or maybe you're a Celtic witch, meaning you practice a lot of pagan stuff, or maybe you follow the Alexandria path, or there were many different paths like that a lot of witches aren't aware of, because everybody thinks the type of witch you are is actually like a cottage witch, a sea witch, which is just speaking to aesthetic and where maybe you like to practice your magic, or your strength as far as which element you're connected with, right? A cottage witch might refer more to like what we would see as a hearth witch. A sea witch would be more of like a water priestess, right? Connected to the element of water. And your path can change, right? Our path is very fluid. So I really don't like to put witches in a box. I like when people say, which witch are you? I actually have a class called that. It's like, explore all of these paths. And if you feel you're drawn to one, maybe that's your gift. But to me, a witch is a witch is a witch. You tend to lean towards green witchery, so you might have a strength with the earth element. Why the hats? Witches are very enchanting people, but please explain the hats. So if you go onto my page, I actually have a couple videos where I talk about why witches wear hats, but we actually have cave drawings. I would love to find the drawings. I've read about them in books. Specifically read about this in the ABCs of Witchcraft from Doreen Valentine, or I think it's her name, or Valentine. Anyway, she was one of the founders of Wicca, and in her book she says there are actual cave drawings of, it's called women dancing in a witches dancing in a circle is what this cave drawing is referred to. It is probably one of the older images we have of what we would see as witches in hats. And so they are visibly women dancing in a circle wearing pointed hats drawn in caves. So you can look at that book if you want to go further into like the oldest we've seen people with witches, because I know I get a lot of backlash even from other witches that not all witches wear hats. And touche, not all witches wear hats. You're right. Like, I'm not saying they do just because I wear one. However, if you are a witch that is drawn to wearing a hat, there is symbolism and power in the hat, especially if you're not, you know, just wearing a 99-cent hat from the Halloween section, right? This hat is a 100% wool hat designed by a witch, made by artisans. There's intent in every step of the hat I am wearing. And you can find this in my website. Thank you, Ashley. The point of the hat, this part up here, represents the cone of power. And in the craft, we raise the cone of power when we cast or invoke that circle. And that cone of power connects us to source. Ever since I've been going live, I have come live with my hat. There's only been a few moments here and there where my hat might not be on. Yes, it protects your energy 100%. The circular brim is protecting you while you are connected to source. The hat is a direct representation of that circle you're casting, if you think about it, because you have the circle of protection right here and the cone of power. And that's what you have when you are casting a circle. It's that protected space of that is energy that is elevated. So you are elevated to a different space, different level of consciousness there. But to wear the hat, you are connecting to that circle of empowerment, that circle that you cast. So when I come live wearing this hat, I actually cannot channel as well when I'm live without the hat on. I've noticed when I've taken it off for a few moments, I feel more exposed, which is weird, isn't it? I would think that I would feel a little like an oddball wearing a hat, but I actually feel more protected and connected wearing this hat. So when I gift one of these hats to a woman in person, or a man in person, or anyone in person, it doesn't matter their gender identity, I offer them the hat as a symbol of connection and protection. Connection to source, protection in this body, protection in this life, protection in your craft. You love wearing your hat around your house? I do too. And one of my dogs, he always is looking at me when I'm wearing it and gets all excited. It's so cute. I feel the same way about my chain. If I'm not wearing it, I'm not as much. Yes, there are certain things like that. The ABCs of Witchcraft by where is that book? I have so many books, you guys, it's hard to... her name is Darlene I'm totally botching her last name. Just look up the ABCs of Witchcraft. And know that her name's Darlene Valentine or Valentine or something like that. She's one of the creators founders of Wicca. So, I don't trust every single witch book I pick up. I'm very choosy with which ones I have kept. Valiant? Is that how you say her name? Valiant? Name's not important. True. ABCs of Witchcraft. Anyway, there's a lot of good information in that book. If you're too much of a beginner, it may kind of go over your head, but yeah, Mystic Sadie, or I think I'm saying your name right. It sounds like you already have a history in it. There we go. Thank you, Tara. You're a doll. Darlene, I still don't know how to say that. It's spelled, my husband's middle name is Valente, and it's spelled very similar to his middle name, so maybe it's Darlene Valente, but that I in there is throwing me. It's like Valieti? So that's it, you guys. Tara added it. Thank you for adding that, Tara. It is a really good book, and it talks about the cave drawings. When I read that, I was on this quest to find out where those cave drawings were, and I've asked so many other witches and tried to get to the root of where they are. I do believe there is a museum that has a replica of what is in those caves I eventually found, but I still never found where the caves were, and that's what I wanted to find. Cats can be a big part of witchcraft. So can dogs. I mean, Hecate is known to have 2 black dogs. So I feel like animals are a big part of the craft. A lot, when you are connected to earth and you are a witch and you are authentic in living your life, you vibrate at a different frequency, and animals are attracted to you. And you will usually, a lot of witches will have a familiar, and a familiar is your magical animal, I want to call it consort, connection, animal companion. Sorry, I was blanking on the word. Your animal companion. Yeah, Freya pulls a chariot pulled by a bunch of cats. So, and they went after cats during the witch trials. There were as many cats killed as there were women. And if you think about it, cats are very feminine. they say don't trust a man that doesn't like cats, because usually they like to control women. And I find that to be true, because cats can't be tamed the way a dog can be tamed and controlled. Cats will let you know, like, if they want you to hold them. If they don't, they will, you know, bat you and walk away. Cats are very sovereign, just like females. Just like anybody that resonates or vibes with being feminine, I should say. Sorry, my languaging I'm trying to create to be more inclusive. So if you are highly feminine, you're gonna align with cats because they are very sovereign. So you naturally will respect their sovereign space. Where if you are someone that likes to control your animal and train your animal, a cat's not gonna do that likely. Like, yeah, a cat can be trained, but even the best trained cats, they're gonna do what they want, you guys, when they want. So cats are highly seen as a witch's familiar, but I've known witches to have a raven as a familiar, a red bird as a familiar. Ellie, that's Jason. Jason? Hold on, you guys. It's not like her to growl when someone walks in. Jason? Well, that was really weird. I heard the door shut and Ellie got up and growled and no one's out there. So maybe I have a ghost cat out there, spirit. Yeah, they can sense spirits too, but I thought I heard the door shut. I don't know. It's just unlike her. If my husband comes in, she just knows it's him and doesn't growl. So she's coming back in to protect me. Hi, Ellie Mae. So I have 3 dogs and 5 cats, you guys. What are your fur babies? Not all your fur babies are going to be your familiars. Usually your familiars are a big part of your magical practice. So there's something different there. I know it's unlikely to have all of your animals be familiars, but I mean, I'm such an animal person, it doesn't surprise me to have many. And, but in the old ways, they would say you just have one familiar, right? I have 5 cats and 3 dogs, and each one of them, it's actually having each of them be a familiar. There is a lot of competitive energy between the animals in my house for my attention. So it's very interesting. So if you have multiple familiars, you will feel the weight of them, I guess. But they usually will play a specific role in your magic. You know, Ellie's sitting here being my protector at the doorway right now. So one of my cats, Kitty, he loves to be involved in any of my magic. Like if I'm pulling cards, he's right there. All of that. And Luna, my one cat, Luna, she is a protector. She's like a scaredy cat of everything, but she will come out and fight you. She would be like those cats in the videos where you see the cats like attack the burglar. That would be Luna, I think. You hear dog sticks his nose and everything. Yeah, try to do yoga in my house. The dogs are just on top of me. They're like, why are you on the floor? All right, any other witchy questions, you guys? Tips for witches who are just starting their journey. I have a witch school on my website. I would take one of my witch school classes, start practical magic, go to a retreat. I host retreats to help witches come together with community and practice their magic together as sisters. They're so fun. We still have space for Salem, but as a beginner witch, I say learning to cast a circle is one of the most foundational things that you can do. And to be able to cast that circle, you need to be connected to all of the elements. So really connecting yourself to the 5 elements, learning to cast a circle, those are like one of the most important things there is. And then remembering, like, at the heart of the craft, like in its oldest history, it was considered goddess worship. And in those words, you read goddess worship in a lot of books. I don't like to call it goddess worship. I call it goddess honor, because I feel like worship is such a Christian term. But it is surrounded by your source being a divine feminine source rather than a masculine force of nature, or, you know, God is this masculine, like wrathful type energy, where the goddess and the divine mother is an energy that is protective and that is love, and it's just so different. So connecting to the goddess and to a divine mother as source is very, very important too. You know, practicing honoring the Sabbats in the wheel of the year is very important. Those are all things I teach in my course, because, you know, what type of craft we like to do, magic, is all up to the witch and her draw. But it's like you need to have these foundational things that people don't focus on, and so that's why I made my witch school with those things as the focus for solitary witches, because solitary witches are just, you know, people that a lot of times are finding spells on TikTok and replicating what they see, but they aren't connected to the five elements. There's 5 elements if you consider spirit. You know, connecting to the energy of the pentacle. All of those things are very foundational before you start doing spell work. But even myself, like when I started practicing the craft, I was in high school and started practicing spells and hexing specifically, which I don't do anymore. Covered in hair from when Kitty was up here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Like, he got up here and was rubbing all over me, and now I have hair all over me. I have lint rollers. I carry them. I need like a gun holster to put my lint rollers in because I have so many cats. You've never casted? There are a lot of witches that they know they're a witch, but they never dive into it. So usually that's a sign you were a witch in a past life, or it's in your bloodline and maybe you're just not choosing to practice it in this life. That's you. But obviously there's some draw, Isabella, or you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't think you're one of those witches that's like, I'm a bloodline witch, but I don't want to practice it in this life. Because if you're here on my live, there's a part of you that is wanting to utilize it more, right? Yes, I do have crystals. I have lots of crystals, but being a witch is more than crystals. It's more than wands and cauldrons and all of the fun things. I love all the fun things. I have an online apothecary where you can get your hats and, you know, all the things. But, you know, your magic exists within you. And that's why I talk a lot about healing, you know, learning to clear your aura and learning to trust your body and feel safe and connected in your body. Because without that, like, you're missing half of the craft. So it's so important, you know, to do the healing work of the witch wound, which requires womb healing and inner child healing. And that's a part of my Way of the Witch course. That's a year and a day course. But you guys, has anybody been interested in coming to the Salem retreat? I believe we have only 3 spaces left now. So we are dwindling down. They are almost gone. If you are interested, make sure that you don't miss your chance. I was so excited about going to Salem. Stella, Witch of the Moon, and I are doing a 5-day retreat, 4 nights, 5 days, 4.5 days, and we are going to be doing ceremony and ritual on the beach. Tara's actually joining me for Practical Magic in Sedona, which that retreat is actually sold out. So I have 2 retreats this year. There's only 1 left with space. That is the Salem retreat. We're planning on doing a ceremony, spell casting on the beach one night. We're going to be all over the place checking out historical sites. We also are going to be having witchcraft workshops, making runes and in little leather pouches, and doing spell boxes and protection bags and all of the things. So, oh, Snake Lady, I can't wait for you to come to one of the retreats. I know you have been wanting to come to a retreat so long. There actually is someone who she hasn't completely said. She says she might be canceling her space for Practical Magic. So if someone might be interested in taking that space, let me know. She isn't completely confirmed. She's not coming yet, but she ended up starting school and she's not sure she's going to be able to come. And so when that happens, we try to sell the person's space. But I'm not actively trying to sell it because she hasn't made the final decision yet. But it would be nice to know, like, to start a list of people who might, you know, if someone cancels, they want their spot. Gingy, thank you for being a moderator. Rebecca, Amy, thank you guys for moderating. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the heart puff. Thank you for the heart, you guys. Thank you for sharing the live. You know, engagement on my page has been a little wonky since we came back from that TikTok blackout. So if you guys don't follow me, go follow me. If you do follow me, please go watch some of my videos, save them, like them, so my stuff stays relevant. There really has been some weird, I'm not sure what it is. Yesterday I kept trying to post a video. I posted it and deleted it 3 times. All of my videos go under review since that happened. So when I post them, they say under review forever. Yesterday it would not let me post, like it kept muting the song that I had on there, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense if I put another song to this. So I deleted it, posted it again. Then it was pissed at me because I was trying to like get by it by adding, you know, using my own sound and then muting another sound. Anyway, I could not get it to work. It was a post for Women's Day, and it's on Instagram if you want to see the International Women's Day post. But yeah, TikTok's been a little wonky, you guys. So go check out my videos. Make sure that you're liking them and commenting so it shows up on your feed, because I've heard from other witches, for whatever reason, I don't understand why they are targeting like witches, or why the algorithm for witches have been off since that blackout, but it has. So I'm just asking for your guys' help to go watch my videos and comment, so then it goes in your feed. So you're seeing what I'm doing, so you get notified when I go live. I am live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm glad you think God is love. I think the goddess is love. I think the goddess is more love than the wrathful God. You know, I kind of have a bit of a sassy, maybe even a little bit of an assholey energy to some of these people, because daily, you guys, I have to go on my posts. Every morning I go through and block and delete all of these Christians who are so self-righteous, that are in my comments telling me I'm gonna go to hell, telling me they're going to burn me at the stake, like so many horrible things, like the death threats some days. I'm like, how can this be Christian? You know, Christians consider themselves to be like love and light and God and all the things, But dude, like, if you are threatening to burn someone at the stake, this is not love and light. This is not God's love. This is hate. This is evil. Like, and being who I am in the world, I'm thankful to be who I am and to be able to come live and talk to you guys. So I have no problem going on there and deleting it. But I've also decided I'm not just gonna have my moderators block and delete these guys. When I see your comments, I am gonna lash back at you, because it is righteous rage and I am allowed to be mad that you keep doing this. Yes, Mystic Sadie, I know more about the Bible than they know about the Bible. It's so, as a Christian, I only hope the best for you. As a witch, I'm wondering, like, why are you on witches' lives? Why, as a Christian, are you on witches' lives? Why are you pushing or praying your God's love on me? I don't want your God's love. I don't want your church. I'm not asking for it. I wouldn't put my belief systems on anyone else. The interesting thing to me about Christianity that I ask any Christians that are on this live to think about is Christianity, or any sect of Christianity, is the only ones who are trying to convert people. You don't see Hindu people out there trying to convert. You don't see Native Americans trying to convert. You don't see witches trying to convert. There is a reason Muslims are not trying to convert. It's because our belief systems don't require your money. And your money to come to the church requires you to be controlled. And you to think that you have this, you need to, like, be out there converting people to gain your pass into heaven. I don't believe it works that way. If you are a Christian and you are on my live here, I ask you, why? Why are you here? Even if you're praying for me, why do you feel the need to pray for me? I am not asking for your prayers. I don't want your prayers. Your prayers are an evil spell, in my opinion. So I actually have spell work set up here that is actually absorbing any energy on this live that does not align with mine. So all of your prayers are going into those boxes, into those spells, and clearing them out of my energy field. I do not accept or receive prayers from anyone. I know in a lot of cases you might think you are coming from a good place, but I encourage you to look at why you are trying to convert people. And thank you to my moderators for, blocking and deleting them. I'm seeing as you do it, but sometimes I do catch some of their things. And even when you are saying, as a Christian, I wish you no evil will, like, that's nice. It's nicer to see that than it is to see people saying they're going to burn me at the stake, or hang me, or whatever else I get in my comments. It is exhausting, Tara. It is exhausting. However, like, even though you're like, I don't feel that way and I'm praying for you, or I send you, like, I'm not asking for that. I would never send somebody energy or prayers that they did not ask me, or spells that they did not ask me to. So I am very much about, I am a sovereign being, and so I respect your sovereignty as a being as well. I'm one that was hurt by the Christian church. I'm sorry, Snake Lady. There's so many of us. Tara's in that boat too. I'm in that boat too. There's a lot of us that were hurt by the church. And we are allowed to have that righteous rage towards those people that are in the church. Like, a lot of them do not have the knowledge or the wisdom about their church that we do, who have been harmed and fought our way out of there and into our sovereign abilities. Like, why would I just want one of the Christians that's in the comment feed? Someone just said, I'm a Christian. Like, why are you here? Why are you listening to witches? Are you a Christian that's here that's curious? Or are you a Christian here to convert? Because your conversion tactics are not welcome here. Your prayers are not welcome here. If you are here because you're curious and you want to learn, you are welcome. You don't see us going door to door. That's right. You don't see us going door to door. And there's a reason we don't go to door, because we're not trying to convert. Because to be a solitary witch, I don't need your money. And to be a church, you need people to give you tithes. The more people you have, the more tithes they have coming in, the more the church thrives. That's why they send you out to convert. I mean, most people just listen to what they're taught on Sunday. Beautiful, Terry. If you're just curious and not looking for conflict, that is beautiful. If you are here for a conversation and not for a confrontation, I am about it. You are welcome here. But I'm sure you've seen the comments come up. You know, that's why I have to have 3 moderators in the comment section deleting comments as the live goes, because of the hateful comments. And the hateful comments, sadly enough, are from Christians. Some form of Christianity, whether they're Catholic or Protestant or Baptist or Lutheran, it's all the same thing. If you want to know more about what I'm talking about, as far as I said I had to fight my way out of the church, my most recent blog, there's actually a link in my bio to that most recent blog, and it is about what I found about the libraries of Alexandria that really helped me to see a missing piece of the puzzle that I didn't see when I was in the church. And you know, you hear that the Bible in the church is translated into different versions, right? But you don't hear about the manipulation of the Bible and the burning of the libraries that held the scrolls that are likely to have been in what we see as the Bible. And the burning of the libraries of Alexandria, like some of that wisdom that was in those libraries actually ended up over in Rome, I believe, and were destroyed in Rome. So there was like this decline of the libraries. And I talk about that, how there's likely to have been one mass burning when there were all these ships that were burned and the city was burned. But it was during the time that those records would have proven what was in the Bible. They would have been the original records. But what doesn't make sense to me is everything in the Bible speaks like it's coming from a Christian. Yet the scrolls that ended up in that Bible, there was no Christianity when those things were written. And so you can tell just by the scope or the narrative in which it's written, it's confusing, right? The Bible is confusing because they took what would be considered pagan information and they morphed, they added things in, they removed any essence of the goddess or the divine mother. And originally, look at the Songs of Solomon. Like, this is your original, like Solomon was the original one to have been said to working with demons, right? I'm not a demonologist. I don't work with demons, but I also don't believe all demons are bad. Lilith was a demon, and her sin, she just wouldn't lie underneath Adam. So not all who we consider demons are bad. And that's the thing. If you are in a church, I invite you to start questioning these things that you are just meant to believe. Look at things from a beginner's mind. Ask questions, search them out, because that's what I had to do, because I had this part of me growing up that was like, I don't believe in this church. And I would ask these questions and they would tell me to be pure of heart, that I needed to believe without question and not look at anti-Mormon, anti-Christian literature. But actually, when I started looking at the anti-Mormon, anti-Christian literature, I realized I wasn't the only one to question these same things. And so then I went down this big rabbit hole. Actually, I read every single Sylvia Browne book. She was a medium. She was actually on TV a lot when I was a kid, but I read all of her books. She's an agnostic Christian. And I like really leaned into what she believed heavily, because it was like ingrained in my head, you had to have a church and you had to be with true church or you wouldn't go to heaven. And then it was like in my mid-20s, all of a sudden I realized I don't have to go to church. I don't have to be a part of any church. I went to all the churches I could in town and realized I didn't fully align with what any of them were saying. And that's when I realized, like, I don't have to go to church. There are people that don't go to church. I don't have to be a part of the church I was raised in. So I don't care what the Bible says because it was manipulated, likely by Constantine and many other men, to control humanity. So that is what my most recent blog is about, is about me digging for that truth and finding what was truth for me, which is not the same truth as it is for everyone, right? Everyone's at different levels in their life and stages in their life. And I just wanted to share because I talk about those libraries often here. I talk about learning it's not like I'm the biggest like Bible buff. I'm not quoting Bible scriptures, but I knew the Bible and the Book of Mormon, both books are utilized in the Mormon Church. I knew they were not true. And so for me, debunking that was part of my deprogramming myself. Yeah, King James was another influence on the Bible. There's a lot of influences on the Bible. And, we have none of those scrolls because they were destroyed. Isn't that interesting that all the scrolls would be destroyed? That's because I think the Songs of Solomon, for example, that's where people say, if you hear anyone say like the Bible was originally full of spells, you can see it still there. You can see it. If you look at it from a different lens, you can see it. You can see where they manipulated things. You can still feel truth gleaning through there. One of the Bible verses that sticks out to me that I still think there's some of a reflection of Jesus and Magdalene's words in there is those who have eyes to hear, or eyes to hear, I always mix that up, eyes to see and ears to hear, however that goes. Like, and there's one that's where you are gathered and it's 3 or more, like there I am. There I am. Not God, not Jesus. Your I am presence is within everyone around you. Everyone is mirrored around you. They are mirroring you. So there's so many different, angles that perspectives you can even look at what's in the Bible at, and a lens you can look at it through that is outside of the Christian narrative. And so anyway, what time is it? My music is off. Do you know what that means? That means I've been on here longer than 2 hours, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my moderators for being here. If you have not signed up for Salem, I was talking about Salem earlier, like we still have 3 spaces left. So this is your chance. Once we are out of spots, we're out of spots. Thank you, Max Joy. I know you are always here even when I don't see your name. I know you're here. I love having you here. Thank you guys for being here on my live. I keep itching my ear because I don't know if you guys can see this. I had a piercing done up here and it is urging me. I'm not supposed to be touching it, but I can't keep my hand off it today for some reason. Thank you, Mystic Sadie, for being here. Tara, thank you for being here. Amy and Erin and Rebecca and Margie was here earlier, and Sarah. Thank you, Per. You guys are so fiercely protective. Thank you, Tara. Thank you guys for the gifts. Miss Tina, thank you. Thank you for participating in the casting of the circle earlier. Remember, when you lay your head down to sleep tonight, that circle will dissipate, it will open, but it will never be broken. So you can still tap into that thread of energy. Cast your own little circle in the morning when you wake up. Reinvite the energy in. It doesn't have to sound exactly like mine. It can just be, I call the energy, I call the north and the element of earth. I call the east and the element of air. Like, it can be so simple. Just calling that in, re-anchoring yourself to the elements and to the directions and to the energies of any deities that you work with and the Divine Mother. You do it daily before you go to work. I love that, Snake Lady, so much. Oh, thank you, Sel, for being here, even though you don't understand my English. You must understand it to some extent because you're writing in the comments, but thank you guys all for being here on my lives every week. I'm getting some dental work done this week. Actually, tomorrow morning at 9, I have to have a tooth pulled, so I probably won't be live at all during the week. I will be back next Sunday, but I imagine I'm going to be a little out of it for a few days and a swollen mouth, so I'm really kind of dreading it. I hate dental work. So I won't be here on the lives during the week just because I don't want to come with puffed up face or anything, but be here next Sunday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you, Sarah. And we'll talk about some more witchy things. Until then, don't forget to follow me if you haven't. Go comment on my videos, please, to keep them relevant in your feed and showing up on your For You page. And any other witches you like, because I've heard from multiple witches, the algorithm's a little funky for us. So please help us by, sharing our videos, liking, saving them. And I love you all. I hope you have a blessed Sunday, and I'll see you next week.